Okay, everyone, the day has come once again. It's not my first time the media wants to know something about me, but this time it's actually the first time that I have to reply to something a bit more sensitive, a few sensitive questions. So I got an email today from a journalist from mystorymedia.co.uk, so it has something to do with Daily Mail in the UK. And he's saying, "Dear Daniel Bain," that's me. He should have said Donor Dan. I am a journalist and I'm getting in touch as I have written an article that is due to be published on Mail Online. Mail Online is like something with Daily Mail this week. The article makes the following points, so please let me know if you wish to comment ASAP. ASAP. I have to comment ASAP. So first one, and I'll go through these individually and then tell you guys my answer. Number one, first comment that they're making, or first point that they're making, you are charging up to $5,000 a month to train men how to become elite level sperm donors. So this is my reply on pricing and training claims. The Open Donor Association operates as a non-profit initiative focused on education, health standards, ethics, transparency, and long-term responsibility in open and known sperm donation. There is no required and fixed high-priced training program, and as of now, I have not requested to pay myself a salary, and I do not plan on doing so. All funds are reinvested into safeguarding, education, donor health standards, and recipient support. Our donors are aware of that. Some individuals independently choose to invest significant personal resources into their own health, fertility optimization, legal guidance, outreach to recipients, and long-term donor-conceived family planning. These are personal choices, not fees required by ODA. We support men on their fertility, health, and family building journey where we can. In other words, yes, you can spend $500,000 a month with the Open Donor Association in creating healthy life as an open donor, right? However, so far, sadly, no one is paying $500,000 a year. I think someday people will be paying those amounts to grow their extended family and create healthy life. Healthy life, healthy sperm, a healthy recipient, a healthy mother. Those things are getting so incredibly rare. I think eventually people will be paying a lot for that. And I think it's a good thing when money is transferred from regular economy to healthy life. I like it. So yeah, that was the first claim. Basically, I'm not charging up to $5,000. It can be much, much more, and it's not me, but it's the Open Donor Association. So he's not even mentioning the Open Donor Association in his account because, I have learned from having a private business before that I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to do nonprofits in the future. I'm working for impact, not for profit. Remember this, guys. It's much more fulfilling to work for impact than it is to work for profit. Profit is such a weird concept anyways for us humans. I just made a video the other day saying profit is only made when you hoard money, you spend it on luxury, or spend it on unhealthy things, right? Everything else is not profit, it's an investment. If you invested in your babies, it's an investment. If you invested in your health, investment. It's not a profit made, it's basically an investment, but yeah. Claim 2, that you are charging women between $3,000 and $10,000, this is a good one, that you are charging women between $3,000 and $10,000 a month to have access to the elite level sperm donors. Not true. We don't. So you can, as a recipient, you can spend $0, $500, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $500,000 on a donor. It's your choice. There's a lot of different options out there across the board. We're trying to make that accessible. So my reply was, recipients are not charged a monthly fee. Also, I know no donors that charge a monthly fee. I was asked before if, as an open donor, I then charge a monthly fee because I'm available into the future forever for the children. I had to laugh because obviously I do not charge a monthly fee. But recipients are not charged a monthly fee to access donors through the Open Donor Association. Donor access and matchmaking support are provided free of charge for recipients, so we do not charge anything to connect recipients and donors. The donors that we refer, they have to pay. They have to make sure that they have all their tests. They have to make, we have to make sure that we do the outreach and we run the ads and we do all the work so that the recipients can find them and can find the Open Donor Association. So yes, on that end, we do charge. We have the general community as well, but I'll get into that. Donor access and matchmaking support are provided free of charge to recipients. During sign-up, we ask recipients about logistical budgets to assess practical feasibility, such as shipping, clinical support, travel, or legal requirements, so that any donor referrals are realistic and responsible. If we have a recipient saying her cost that she can afford for a donor is $300 to $1,000, not per month, just for the donor, then we are not going to refer a donor to her where just the travel expenses would be $3,000, right? Or we would not refer a donor to her who only wants to work through clinics. Or we would not refer a donor to her who is, not within that price range. A donor can also have his own donor fees. We do not make them for our donors. We don't even tell our donors a minimum fee to charge or anything like that. That's something we discussed in the past, but we decided not to do it. We decided that we believe in free reproduction. Whoever wants to, for however much they want to, can do whatever they want, as long as they're not impeding others. During sign-up, we ask recipients, I said that, this process is designed to protect the well-being of the future child and ensure long-term stability. So we don't offer, some of our donors, they might work for free depending on the recipient. They might even pay for fertility treatment in some cases if they really like the recipients. In some cases, they start to have some kind of co-parenting agreements as well. So it's a whole spectrum of donors, a whole spectrum of men. I wanted to make a video about that as well. I think this will be the next video that I make. And I just thought it was funny that they thought we would charge, no recipient would pay $3,000 a month. And I wouldn't want to charge anything like that because we want the mothers that want to have children, we want them to have children. We think it's a wonderful thing. We want to support it. We love, babies. We love new life. And so I think if I charged recipients with the ODA that much, all the donors would leave and there would be no nonprofit community left. No, we're not going to do that. We're not stupid. With some of these questions, I do ask myself, like, is he serious? Like, was that actually his thought process? Because it does say in the form that recipients can, like, say how much they can afford for a donor, but it nowhere says it monthly. Okay, our general community membership, primarily aimed at donor education, peer support, and ethical standards, is approximately $25 a month. So I'm also making clear that we are not just a thing for like the super rich and super wealthy. We want to help everyone who wants to be a biological father or a donor do that, right? Of course, we can't have someone pay $25 a month and then run a bunch of ads on him, do all the outreach for him, like support him with the legal structure and the plans and blah, blah, blah. We can't do all that. It's not feasible because a nonprofit does not mean that we're making a loss or that some donors are making a loss and other donors are making a profit or anything like that, right? So that doesn't work. Additional optional tiers exist for men who seek more structured guidance, as you can see on the website. Participation levels reflect personal commitment, not required spending, and there is no upper limit imposed by ODA on what individuals choose to invest in their own health or family building journey themselves or with the nonprofit community. Saying if someone wants to spend $500,000 a month with the ODA or on his own reproductive journey, and men right now are paying a lot of money for reproductive opportunities in the sexual marketplace, in the marriage marketplace. There's also men very interested to have children as an open donor as well. I think it's a wonderful thing to be an open donor. I love it, and I hope more men choose to do it. I hope more men decide to stop spending money on stupid things, unhealthy things, addiction, cars, or whatever there is, toys, and actually invest it in their health and their family. So I gave him the website there again so he can look at the publicly available information for the donor tiers. On donor compensation figures, that's the next question. So the next question was the following point, that a donor can be paid up to $20,000 for a single donation. That is true. I have been paid that or more than that, not for a single donation, but for my work as an open donor. So single donation is off, but for a single collaboration with a recipient, it is possible to charge that much. Now, is it easy? No. Can anyone do it? Probably not. Is it just like one donation? Very unlikely. Maybe if you are like Justin Bieber and then there's like a fan and she really wants a child from you as her donor, there's a chance that you can charge that much. You know, some people, they have like K-pop stars, for example, they could charge 20,000 for a single donation. But as a donor, unrealistic that you can just charge that for a single donation. Now, I have had situations where I travel a lot and was in the 5 figures, but the ODA does not set donor fees. Donor-recipient arrangements are private agreements, and we actively advise donors to comply with legal frameworks of their respective countries. Globally, there are rare cases involving long-term co-parenting, extensive medical, long travel, and legal preparation where total costs can be substantial. These are not per donation payments, are not typical, and are not determined by ODA. We might help donors, you know, be able to cover their travel time and cover their expenses as donors. We help them place themselves in the reproductive marketplace, as I call it sometimes, so that they have an opportunity to have children sustainably, biological children sustainably, maybe even be able to raise their own family as well, which we want. We want people to raise their family and be donors and have children, all the different ways. Any higher value arrangements referenced have occurred outside UK and Australia. I'm saying that because the laws in UK and Australia are restrictive on, they're very suppressive on free reproduction. So there, for example, you can't charge, which is why most good men say, like, why should I bother? Now, there's a lot of reasons you can bother being a donor even if you're not being paid, but that you can learn in the Open Donor Association. You can find the link to the Open Donor Association through my bio or in the captions here in the description of the video. So yeah, of course we tell our donors where it's lawful to do what. That's what the whole training and the courses are for as well, you know, not just that. Okay, then they also asked if a British documentary crew is making a film about my work. That's true. I said multiple international journalists and documentary teams are currently researching open and known donation models. You know, it's basically like, I was like, hey guys, I'm an open donor, I'm donor conceived. I love this. This is cool, this is awesome. Let's do it. And then I started doing it, and then other men were like, wow, that's pretty interesting. I want to do that too. And then other men did it too. And then the media was like, wow, why are so many guys doing it? And I think it's going to be a trend. I think it's going to be more and more people doing it, both recipients and donors. This reflects growing global interest in donor transparency, donor-conceived person rights, ethical alternatives to anonymous sperm banking, and long-term family accountability. Then they asked a question about my past. Your last company, Strike GmbH, not necessarily my last company, but it was my biggest venture so far. I think the ODA will be a bigger venture. Your last company, Strike GmbH, went bankrupt in 2023, having taken on 100 members of staff and opened numerous branches in Germany. So, my answer on the Strike GmbH. Strike GmbH was a second-hand retail and reuse initiative I founded at 19 years old. It grew to approximately 100 employees, 16 physical locations, multiple online shops, and 7-figure annual revenue. The company ultimately failed due to structural pressures facing brick-and-mortar resale businesses and early tax and governance decisions I made at a young age. At its peak, the organization diverted an estimated 10 to 12 tons of clothing per month from landfill. The experience significantly shaped my later focus on sustainability, transparency, and responsible organizational structures. So yeah, people, I think UK is one of the countries where going bankrupt is not cool. Now I'm in the US, it's all cool over here. You can fail here, you can stand back up. I have this energy inside of me. If the Open Donor Association doesn't work, if it fails, I'll try again, do it better, you know. But I'm very confident actually in the Open Donor Association and the men that are there, because they are the integrity is very strong, and they really like what they're doing, and they're not doing it for the money like the employees in the Open Donor, in the Strike company did, or anyone. It was a Strike company was, you know, a for-profit business, and I was trying to make a profit, but then at the end I realized I should have just done a non-profit, but that's a different story. Someday I'll make a full video on my history on that Strike GmbH, but that's a different story. On safeguarding natural insemination, that was the last question. The last point I made is critics say your donor course, the ODA is not just a donor course. Why are you just presenting it as a donor course? We are a community, we build systems and processes to connect recipients with donors. We do have a program and a course, a school course as well, where you can learn all things you have to know as you're improving your work as a donor, but it's not just a donor course. So critics say your donor course is likely to attract lonely men. None of the men that I work with in the Open Donor Association are lonely. Most of them have girlfriends, wives, a wife, or children of their own. Actually, I think like 80%, the majority. But yeah, critics say your donor course is likely to attract lonely men eager to pursue natural insemination, but that the outcomes you claim are possible are unrealistic. The Open Donor Association does not allow donors to pressure recipients into natural insemination. You can find that in our FAQs on the website. Clear consent, boundaries, and ethical conduct are mandatory. Any donor reported for coercive or unethical behavior would be removed from the community. To date, no such cases have occurred. So far, the donors that we refer to recipients, so the golden standard, platinum standard donors, none of them have ever been reported for coercive behavior or pushing towards natural insemination. And I think they know if they did that, they would be long gone. The aid does not promise outcomes. However, all donors currently active within the community have supported successful pregnancies through ethical, consensual arrangements. So, of course, if someone signs up to me and he's like 5 foot short and super unhealthy and is bald, he could try and we could try to help him have biological offspring, but he would probably not be successful. It would be very, very hard. Maybe he would have to invest much more than someone who's super healthy, tall, good looking, great hairline and all of that. At the end of the day, the choice is with the mothers, the future mothers, the intended mothers, the recipients. So we cannot promise any outcomes for anyone, right? If someone comes to us, for example, a trans man, and he used to be a woman, and now he wants to be a donor, he could sign up and he could pay and we could try and connect him, but there would be no outcome, right? So we cannot promise any outcome at all, but all donors currently active, they have been successful, which is a good sign that you could too. If you want to be a donor, sign up on the Open Donor Association website. Overall, the Open Donor Association exists to support people, maybe like you, who want to build families responsibly, whether as donors, fathers, co-parents, or mothers, while prioritizing transparency, ethics, and long-term well-being of donor-conceived children. And then I said, you could check out my Instagram, I discussed blah, 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 this and that, and if you want to talk to me, let's have a call. So yeah, this was basically it. I told some of the other donors, you know, some guys, when they get like a message from the media, it's like, oh my God. For me, it's just like, okay, what do they want to know? Let's see what the answer is, a good answer is. If they want to lie and talk shit, they will. It doesn't matter what I say or what I do. I'm a stoic when it comes to that, so some things I can't control. But I'm hoping that they will take into consideration what I said. If it's an ethical, a decent journalist, he will look at it, he will do his research, and see that what we're doing is positive. At least I hope it's net positive. The mothers that I've helped so far, they're saying it's positive, so I think I'm on a good path. But yeah, that was it for today. I hope this gave you guys some understanding as well. Maybe I could clear up some misunderstandings that you have if you're interested in the Open Donor Association. If you are a mother looking to grow your family, you can sign up to the Open Donor Association. We can connect you to a donor, and don't worry, you will not have to pay $3,000 to $10,000 a month. We actually connect you for free. If you are a man, if you want to be a donor, have biological offspring, experience this, what I would consider alternative donor conception fatherhood. It's not necessarily fatherhood, but it is one way to be a biological father. You can sign up to the Open Donor Association as well. We're always looking forward to getting some applications from people who want to grow their families. And with that, I wish you guys a happy future generation.